So, you met the Avengers by Warlock Writer.
So, are you excited to meet everyone?
Tony asked in the elevator on their way to the penthouse, where the Avengers, minus Bruce and Thor, are waiting to meet Peter, who Tony talks about constantly. They swear it's like they've already met the kid. Excited? Mr. Stark, this is the best day of my life, Peter exclaimed. Besides meeting you, of course, Peter added with a smile.
I should hope so, kid,
Tony said as he ruffled Peter's hair. Peter was way too excited to be annoyed by the action.
Avengers, I'd like you to meet my kid, Peter, Tony introduced.
Everyone smiled at Peter, even Natasha, who gave a small smile towards Peter, who had forgotten how to speak, apparently.
Pete, do you not know how to speak? You normally never shut up, Tony joked.
Hi, I'm Peter, which you already know because Tony just said. Peter rambled awkwardly, completely starstruck.
Don't worry, he'll get over this stage in a few days. He did with me anyway, and I'm his favourite hero, teased Tony.
You kind of lose that superhero edge when I see Dummy spray you with a fire extinguisher twice in 5 minutes, mocked Peter, gaining a laugh from the Avengers. He couldn't wait to tell Ned about this tomorrow. Peter got acquainted with the team for a few minutes. He was still completely awestruck that he was talking to them, but they soon fell into normal conversation. What even is his life? Peter talked excitedly to everyone on the team who listened to his stories enthusiastically, as well as sharing their own with him. Peter got on really well with everyone. Within seconds of meeting him, they had all decided that they would do anything to protect Peter, with Natasha even declaring herself as Peter's Spider Mama. Tony did notice that he seemed less excited to meet Cap and listen to some of his stories, something that he questioned Peter on when he got the chance. In Peter's defence, he could barely string a single word together when he spoke to Steve, but when he went on a long monologue or story, all Peter could think about was the PSA videos he and his class were made to watch. He swore he has them memorised at this point, so by this point he was immune to Cap's long speeches.
Gotta be honest, kid, I thought you'd be more excited to see Cap, Tony remarked, although he was incredibly happy that none of the team would steal his kid from him, and they all got on well.
I do actually have something I want to say to him, if that's okay, Peter replied, smiling innocently at Tony and then Steve for confirmation.
Of course, Peter, Steve replied, although confused, as they had only just met and hadn't said anything previously.
Peter grinned widely before grabbing one of the chairs, turning it around and sitting on it backwards.
So, you got a detention?
Peter smirked, making his voice deeper to imitate the now embarrassed-looking Captain America.
How do you know about those?
Steve groaned, embarrassed, with his head in his hands and his face bright red. The rest of the team, including Tony, looked on in confusion.
I'm in high school. I've seen them so many times.
Peter laughed hysterically. He had tears in his eyes at Steve's embarrassment, and the fact that he had managed to make one of Earth's mightiest heroes blush. Everyone looked between the two, even more confused.
Is there something you'd like to share with the class? Tony asked.
Yes.
No,
Peter and Steve called out respectively. Peter grinned mischievously as Steve wished he was back in the ice to avoid this conversation.
Why did I ever agree to those damn videos? I knew they'd come back to haunt me one day, Steve thought. So, Cap here decided to do some PSA videos for high schoolers. There was one for every situation possible, even drugs. And you became Captain America by being injected with an experimental drug, Peter exclaimed, howling with laughter at Steve's growing humiliation.
By the time Peter had finished, everyone had burst out laughing at Cap. When had he even done these?
Kid, you have to show us these, Clint remarked between laughter. No, please don't,
Steve practically begged. However, having known Tony, he knew for a fact Peter wouldn't listen. They could all tell very quickly that Peter was a lot like Tony.
Friday, load Cap's PSA videos for me, Peter instructed.
Friday complied instantly as Steve accepted his fate and became determined to become one with the couch. Everyone was practically crying with laughter by the time they'd finished, Clint wondering how they'd never come across them before. All of them mocked Steve relentlessly for them. Whenever anyone did anything wrong, even the smallest thing, one of them would go into a PSA-style lecture. Steve cursed the day he made those videos. It's safe to say no one was ever letting Steve forget about those videos. And if Peter got Friday to give him Bucky's number and sent the videos to him whilst he recovered in Wakanda, Steve never needed to know it was him. Thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoyed. Have a lovely rest of your day.